Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Eduard. It's a weekend edition kit and it copies P-51D-20 Mustang in a 1/48 scale, so it might be an interesting project for modelers who wanted to save a bit money but still get a nice plastic in a popular scale. And here we have a commercial release, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you will see in this video review, so it will be interesting to open it and see what is actually included in this nice box. And of course, first of all, it's worth noting the box art, which is quite nice here. By the way, for this kit there will be also a separate zoom set available. We'll check it in a separate video review, so stay tuned. And as for this kit, the box size is quite standard for such release. Here you can see comparison with my hand. Next, on the side here you'll find some safety advices and also address of the manufacturer. Of course, it is also a licensed product from Boeing. And kit number is 84176. On the opposite side you can see 4 marking options, which is, I would say, quite a nice change, because as you remember before, weekend editions packed only 2 markings. This is a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. So all frames are separated into 2 plastic bags. I guess this one is specific for a D20 version, and we are going to start with this frame, and then gradually we will move on to other parts as well. So just give me a second to open it. Okay. So here we have wing parts, and I have to say that molding quality is really nice, so you don't have to worry about any possible issues. Note that wing mechanization is separate here. We have even separate flaps, which is quite nice change from what we are used to see in Eduard kits. And we can zoom in even closer so that you can see that here, for example, we have really nice external features, rivets, recessed panel lines, all this stuff is present here. And an amount of attachment points is also reduced to the possible minimum, so it's not like we have a lot of attachment points on small elements. By the way, here you also can see the tail wing parts. Each one will have to be glued out of 2 halves. And if I flip it over, here inside you can see also guiding elements for a gun base and also for main wheel wells, because all this stuff will be assembled separately. And obviously for the gun base you have to get the aftermarket bracing set, otherwise you won't be able to copy it. Next we continue with another plastic bag. So actually there are 3 plastic bags, because clear frame comes in the separate plastic bag, and I will show it in a second. Here it is. So here we have all necessary canopy parts, and this is a weekend edition kit, so we do not have any masks or templates for these elements. In case you would like to cover them somehow, you will have to get an aftermarket set from Eduard. It is already available, so it will speed up the assembly process. That's why I recommend to think about it, because it will be a worthy investment and it will give you a nice paintwork on your aircraft. And of course you can open the cockpit with these parts, which is quite important in 1/48 scale release. That's why we have it here. Next we continue with another plastic bag. So it's also a resealable plastic bag. It should be easy to open. Just give me a second and we will take a closer look together. I can see that here we have 4 plastic frames. They're also made out of gray plastic. And it is quite interesting to see the fuselage parts first. So here they are. The overall design is quite standard for aircraft kit. As you can see, we have 2 halves, and both are molded together with tail fin and also with cowling parts. Frankly speaking, I'm not sure why this top cowling section was not molded as a separate part. It would give a better chance to avoid any unnecessary gaps in such visible area, but you can see that external features are pretty much the same as what we saw on the wing parts. It means recessed panel lines and rivets, and here you can see separate rudder and also some parts for the wing roots. If I flip over these fuselage parts, inside we will find guiding elements for the cockpit, but cockpit should be assembled separately and then inserted in between fuselage halves, so do not worry, it's not just a plain cockpit. We have a nicely detailed cabin, even in out of the box version with the plastic only, because I mean in the weekend edition kit we do not get any P parts included. Next we continue with another frame. Here we have parts for the main wheel wells, And also we have parts for the air intake. Note that front and rear sections are molded as a separate parts, and that's really cool because it will give you a really, I would say, smooth transition between these elements, and you won't have gaps in the middle. It won't be, let's say, tricky to sand it. You just install this part and you are good to go. As for the landing gear wheels, of course, you can replace them with a brushing upgrade. It is up to you. And I mean, for me, these parts are quite okay. I don't have anything to complain about, so I don't think it will be bad for somebody. And here, by the way, you can see main wheel wells, and here we have landing gear doors. If I flip them over, you can see that we have quite nice pre-molded features out of the box. Let's zoom out a bit. And by the way, the design of this landing gear wheels, as you can see, they should be glued out of two halves. In brushing parts, obviously you will get one-piece elements, which is also a bit easier to work with, and there are masks included, so you will get nice paint work without any extra time spent on it. Next, we continue with another plastic sprue. Here we have more of cockpit parts, because these are cockpit walls. This is a cockpit floor, this is a rear armor wall. Here we have a fuel tank. These are several types of propeller blades. Obviously you won't have to use them all. And if I zoom in, here you can see also coaming panels, pilot seat, instrument panels. Here is the cockpit wall, side consoles. Here we have another cockpit wall. And here we have two propeller hubs, which are also quite nice, so you don't have to worry about any possible molding issues here. By the way, quite interesting feature is that we have two plain dashboards or instrument panels here. They will be handy in case you plan to use the PE parts with this kit. Next, we continue with the final gray plastic sprue. Here we have external armament. So this one includes rocket launchers, external fuel tanks, and several types of bombs. Obviously, you won't have to use everything at once, and maybe you can leave some of them for your spare parts box. So it also depends on the marking you choose. So definitely check your references so that you depict the right version with your build. Next, we continue with a quite unusual bonus for weekend edition. We have a small plastic bag with PE thread, so I will open it right now and we will take a closer look together. Just give me a second. So here we have this unpainted PE thread. I guess it will be used for the internal elements, but we will check the assembly manual in order to understand where it is applied. Next thing is this plastic bag with decals. So just give me a moment to open it. There are two decal sheets inside. And just to remind you, we have 4 marking options here. So I'm going to take it out and start with the biggest one. Here it is. Obviously both are printed in Eduard, so you shouldn't be worried about any printing issues. Here you can take a closer look. And another nice bonus is that we have seat belts and some decals for the cockpit, which is quite useful in case you don't want to spend extra money. Then you can just use these decals here. By the way, we have decals for the instrument panel. Maybe I will bring them closer so that you can see what I'm talking about. Here they are, and here are the seat belts, which are also quite nice looking. So in my opinion, it's more than enough for out-of-the-box build. And of course you can go for a full detailed brushing cockpit if you would like to spend a bit more. Here we continue with the second decal sheet. This one is dedicated to stencils. So of course apply all the symbols because your model will only benefit from such addition, even though it might be a tedious procedure. Next we continue with assembly manual. So let's zoom out a bit. And maybe we close the lenses. So it's a large cover printed brochure, short history note on the first page. If I flip it over here inside, we can see parts map. Blue color means that these parts will not be used. And next we start assembly process with the cockpit. So first you assemble this armor wall, which will be placed behind the pilot seat. As you can see, pilot seat is being glued out of several parts. And straight away you're using decals for the seat belts. So definitely think through how you would like to paint all these parts and maybe weather. Next we continue with installation of the cockpit walls inside the fuselage halves. And also we started assembling the air intake parts. As you can see, everything gets close together. Here, by the way, is the tail wheel well. Next we assemble the main wheel well, which is also quite tricky thing to assemble. And next we proceed with, so this is a template for scribing as far as you can see. And next we continue. By the way, here we have quite interesting part for the hydraulic pipelines which are visible through the main wheel wells, which is really cool that they thought over this element. Next we continue with wing tips. We assemble the tail fairings, and here you can see the combing and instrument panel getting installed into the aircraft. Yes, they are installed once whole fuselage is assembly in assembled state. Next we continue with the tail landing gear. Here we work on the main landing gear together with the wheel installation as well as wing mechanization. I can see that the flaps, they will be in a retracted position. Obviously you can modify it slightly in order to depict it in a folded position. Next we continue by assembling the propeller. There are also several assembly options depending on the marking you choose, so definitely pay attention to that. And next we continue with fuel tanks, bombs. So again, the choice will depend on the marking. And here we have the first two markings. So this one comes from May-June 1945. This one is from April 1945. It was based in Britain. Next, we continue with one more aircraft. It's also from Great Britain, April 1945. And another one is from July 1945. Quite interesting blue tail, by the way. And next we have the aluminium lacquer painted areas, so that you know what should be painted where, because there are a lot of discussions, so that's why Eduard decided to give their own, let's say, view of this thing. And next we can see the stenciling guide. So as I said before, definitely go for it. And of course on the last page we have quite extensive list of all the accessories available for this kit. And once you add all these things on your aircraft, it will be quite a, I would say, developed project. So definitely think about it, because it might be an interesting build to do. As for the whole set, it should be already available. You can get it on official Eduard web store. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such a list. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!